And welcome to the Coogan Cassia Show. On tonight's show, we have Olympic gold medalist, professional heavyweight boxer, Anthony Joshua. Welcome, Anthony, to the show.
How you doing, guys?
Great crowd in here tonight. They're very silent, so they're going to listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just here to give the fans what they want to see. quoting the main man, Mayweather.
This is what it would look like if I had my own show, but I don't have my own show, so this is really iFL TV interviewing Anthony Joshua in the Metro Studios.
Correct.
What's
Nice
going
setting.
on, Anthony Joshua? You alright?
All well and good. Just had a good training session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know you've had a slight hand issue.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of an update about that.
I think two things: heavy bags, solid heavy bags, and as time's gone on, I think I'm punching correct, so I'm generating a bit more power. So anyone out there that does boxing and boxer, make sure you're doing your hand condition. It's not always about round body, bench press and press ups. Make sure you're doing the little things like your hands, your lower back, your neck, because these are small areas that you can't neglect if you want to avoid injury. So that's what I've learned as well, is that where I'm getting better with my technique, I'm punching harder on the heavy bag, and I've neglected doing some hand conditioning. And maybe that was the impact of a broken hand.
Since you've turned professional back in October, there's been 3 bills that you've had to take yourself off because of various issues. So effectively, you're 5-0 at the minute. I mean, I'm saying in hindsight, it could have been 8-0 into your career now. So do you look at that as a slight hindrance in your progression so far, or everything for a reason, and it is 5-0 and you've had 5 fights, so you're happy with that at this stage?
Well, obviously I could have been 8-0. You never know. I could have been 5.
You could have been 8. You could have been 5.
You know what I mean? True. Seriously, you just never know what could happen. But the good thing about what I've got around me is a really good team who have my best interests at heart. So anything that could slow me down in the long run, we've got to put a pause on it now. I had to put out 1 or 2 fights. I could have taken the fights, but the professional advice I had is that, you know what, you could take these fights, but 2 things. Your health is more important than anything right now, and it could affect you in the long run. So they advised me to just put my brakes on for this fight. And the great thing about Matchroom, why I joined the team as well, is they've got shows in abundance. So I know if I put out, let's say, a show in December, I know come January the 1st I'm going to be on the next bill, and that 2 weeks of rest done me the world of good, why I can keep on doing what I'm doing.
I first met you about a year before 2012 Olympics, and I think I pestered you on Twitter. I think that's how I got hold of you. I pestered you on Twitter. I think you'd seen a couple of my videos, and we went and done that drive in Watford. Like I said, that was roughly about 9-10 months before the Olympics started, I think. And your attitude then, when I was driving along with you, and like I said, that was the first time I'd met you. Your attitude then is exactly the same as your attitude now. So since then, you've become Olympic gold medalist, all the hype round London 2012, and you've had 5 professional fights, 5 knockouts. And your attitude, I'm being honest, your attitude has stayed exactly the same. So, like I said, in another 5 fights' time, I can't tell you whether your attitude will stay the same. You probably, in your head, know that your attitude towards your career will stay the same. But what I've noticed about you more than anything is that you take each fight as it comes along and never, you're not. You've probably got, I know you've got dreams and I know you've got aspirations to go and conquer the heavyweight division, but you're one of these people that just takes each thing as it comes along. So deal with that matter in hand,
most definitely,
and then move on to the next one.
And deal with it in the best way I can. Instead of being 50-50 all the way through, be 100% in every situation. Kind of going back to the stuff with the injury. I could have competed with these guys, and it's not being cocky, it's being confident. I feel I could compete with the level of opposition I've got at 30%, but why do that when I should be 100% at every situation? things haven't changed. I think character is something that will always be. You will always be who you are. You know, no matter whether financial situation, no matter whether you're in a relationship, you're always who you are. You cheat once, you'll do it again. You know what I mean? So I think character doesn't change, but desires do, and stuff like wanting to be ABA champion to Olympic champion to a world champion. So my desires definitely change, but my attitude has always remained the same. I'm hungry, and as long as I keep that attitude, I'll always achieve the different things I set out for in my life.
I've always thought this for a long time. It's not just something I think. I think this is a part and parcel of becoming a success in British boxing, is that your association and your connection with your supporters, your fans, the public, etc., etc. And I always think, you know, I refer back to, in my lifetime, the most coveted and popular followed boxer since I've been following boxing from Britain has been Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, unbelievable amounts of supporters that travelled over to places like Vegas for Mayweather, Pacquiao, all these fights, and you get 35,000 British people travelling over to Vegas to a venue that only holds 16,800 people. So the other half of that, knowing that they're not going to get into that venue, they're going out there to support Ricky, to probably watch it on a big screen. That's a following. That what Ricky Hatton had is a following, and I think the reason why that is because Ricky Hatton was that person where would give everyone the time of day, and he's just he can relate to people on all walks of life. Ricky Hatton used to mix with the absolute rich and famous. He used to mix. Do you understand that? So he used to, and that's how Ricky Hatton was. And Ricky Hatton, on all scales of life, used to be like that, and that's why he had that connection with the public. I see you around the public, and I see how you are with people coming up to you, and you've got a similar kind of mentality around that. That these people are coming to you and they want to spend time with you, whether it's a picture or an autograph, or they just want to talk boxing with you. And I've never seen you even remotely shy away from that fact, because you know that these are the people, at the end of the day, are a contribution to your success. Would you agree with that? Yeah,
most definitely. It's the interest, and some people want to see me do well, and the good things. I think Twitter's helped as well, because people can get their opinions over to me direct. And I see some of the positive things that me beating a few people up is doing for people's lives. People say, I stopped boxing a year ago, things have gone downhill, but I watched a documentary, I've seen you boxing and where you've come from, and it's inspired me to go on and start my boxing career up again. And you hear those things, it's the little things that count. I'm sure I'm not the only athlete it happens to, but I'm sure like across the board it definitely inspires us and keeps us motivated. But yeah, like I think I've always been good with people. I grew up in Watford, multicultural area, so it don't matter your race, your size. You know, I didn't grow up in an area where it was dominantly this or dominantly that. It was really multicultural, so I can connect with people in all different walks of life, which probably helps me now, because being in boxing, it's a global sport. You know, I've boxed people from all over the world. I've gone to many different countries, and you know, I'm sure half of the people I've met still remember me today, because I still remember them, because I'm not just there to shy away. I want people to remember me. I'm 6'7", I'm not hard to miss. People say the friendly giant, but you have to have a killer instinct as well. But if no one imposes a threat, I don't need to impose a threat back. So yeah, man, you come at me on a positive vibe, the love I give is straight back. And there's one saying that I hear Floyd Mayweather say, it's true, he goes, he loves to love hard, but if you cross him, he hates even harder. And I think that's good to have. That's a good trait to have in someone's character. I get referred to as like big friendly giant as well, but people don't realise like that killer instinct's in me. I could. Yeah. Why are you laughing? I'm listening. Why are you laughing? I'm listening. You don't know. I could just say it like that. What?
You didn't even see that coming, man.
Alright, what would you think if I was walking down the alley, hooded up, I could be the gentlest person, but that perception, the hooded guy, the black guy in the alley, what would you think? It doesn't matter what you think!
I didn't start my sentence then.
Why are you flinching as well?
Because
I had to get that in.
You don't know how heavy-handed you are. Like, your little, like, when you're doing your little blah, 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 and you like a little tap, which you know, that could break my arm and shit. Do you know what I mean?
So, I had to get that in, Coogan. I had to get it in.
That's alright.
Yeah.
As you know, I've been in Las Vegas last week for the Mayweather thing, and you know, I spoke to a lot of people out there, especially like people on the heavyweight scene, and you would have seen my interview with Gerald Miller, Big Baby Miller, and he obviously hadn't heard of who you were, which is fair enough because you know he's works his trade in America and probably not as aware as the domestic scene here in the UK as you know we are obviously, but it's interesting because I talked to like Deontay Wilder, and I don't know if you've seen that interview, but
I'm gonna look at that.
Yeah, watch that interview. I spoke to you about that earlier on. That interview with Deontay Wilder, because you know they may have not seen all your fights, but your name's creeping into relevance because of the heavyweight scene at the moment. There's it's still crying out for that fighter, in my opinion. It's still crying out for, you know, with Klitschko retiring now as well, it's there up for grabs. So you're in the mix of that, whether you agree with that or not. You're even at 5-0 at the moment. You're very much in the mix of that. But are you aware of where your name is across the pond, if you like?
I believe so. In the sense that I think that if you're boxing and you're dedicated, you should know about most fighters out there, especially in your weight category. For instance, Baby J Miller doesn't have a clue who I am, but I've known who he is for the last 3 years. I wouldn't say I don't know what he does or how he lives his life and how dedicated he is, but it's not all about being well known and being famous. It's just knowing the people that you're up against, and I feel that me knowing Baby Miller is because I just do my research. So in a sense, I feel I definitely should be known because I'm definitely a threat in the heavyweight division, and if anyone has any sense, they should really be looking at me and studying me, my craft, my character, and what my principles are, and what I stand for in this boxing game. I'm not going to sit here and badmouth Baby Miller, but I can, from what I see, I kind of know where he's at, and if I came up against him to fight him, I feel I'd already have an edge on him because I've known what he's about for the last 3 years, and I've seen his transition and where he is now, where he come from. He hasn't always been a boxer. You know, he come into the game late, and he's 8-0. Correct?
Yeah, to be honest, I think he's had one draw. I think he's...
Nah, he's 8-0. He's 8-0.
I thought
he's had 8 fights though.
I thought he'd had 9 fights, but eight wins and one draw. I might be wrong, but I believe that
he's cut his locks off as well, hasn't he?
Has he?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but this is what I'm saying, that it's important to know the people in boxing, and I feel that I definitely should be known because I feel I'm with a good promotional team. They're putting me out right, and the few opponents I've had, I've got rid of them in good fashion. Some who I went the distance, not the distance, but a few good rounds with some of Britain's well-respected heavyweights. So yeah, if I was someone who took my craft seriously, I'd definitely be looking at me like, who is this guy and how do I beat him?
No, absolutely.
You know where I'm coming from.
It's not specific to your weight, but I just know it's probably a lot of fighters are aware of who potential rivals are, who the world champions are in their weight, because you never know. You
just never know.
You never know. So
and it's not always about looking at them as your enemy. It's what can you learn from that person as well. The recent boxer I started watching is Keith Thurman as well. I got a lot of respect for him and what he's doing. I see him out in his training camp, and some of the tools they've got out there, you can see why he's a threat and why he's so good. And he's not in my weight category, but I definitely know who he is. You know, so to anyone out there, be serious about your craft and make sure you're studying. It's just like a test, and it's an exam.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing now. I'm just studying at the minute.
For people that don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you, how old are you now, 24?
Mm-hmm.
You came into the game late yourself, didn't you, as regards of your amateur experience?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So just go back a little bit to what year did you actually first go into the gym, lace a pair of gloves up? What year was that?
Okay, I started, let's say...
Sit back a bit, because your head is...
Okay, the first time I went into a boxing gym is when I was 15.
Right.
And I said, forget about that. That ain't for me. It's all about mindset. Then I went there once.
Why did you go there?
I grew up Watford, small community. My mate's dad run the gym, Ricky English, well known.
Yeah.
And he was doing it, my mate was doing it, I done it. But I made a decision it weren't for me, and half of the boys that I went with did as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So the interest was gone. But when I really laced up a glove, started sparring, was late 2008.
Okay.
Late
6 years ago.
Yeah, and then I had my first fight November the 19th, 2008.
Your first amateur fight?
My first amateur fight.
Who was it against?
It was against... I can't remember his name, I can remember how it went. I got the knockout. And I thought boxing was easy. Until I got in hard fights and I realised I need to step my game up and train harder. But when you're that early on, it's all about experiences, how close you train to a fight, your diet. When you knock a guy out, you know, it's probably the fact that he wasn't much of a competitor to you, and you can perform at a level above. Not that the fact that boxing as a whole is an easy sport, you know what I mean? So it was a good lesson, good learning curve for me.
But back then, did you at all anticipate what could happen in the next 6 years of your life?
Nah, no.
Did you ever think to yourself that...
I wanted to become ABA champion.
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, that's the first... As an amateur, that's your first thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that was what I wanted to do and turn professional. Because I had the role model in my gym at the time was Derek Chisora, heavyweight, super heavyweight boxer. He was the ABA champion, turned professional, was talked about a lot in the area I moved to from Watford, well respected, and I wanted a bit of that. I wanted to be that guy. So my goals were to become ABA champion and turn professional and start my professional career and work more up the ranks.
So from 2008,
yeah.
When did it really hit you that this is what you're going to be doing now for your life?
When I turned professional.
When you turned pro?
Yeah, now. This is it.
So what about pre-Olympics then? What about then?
No one says easy, but I just enjoy training, and you put a man in front of me, I was going to beat him. That was my mentality. So it wasn't about, I'm going to make a career out of this, I'm going to try and make some money out of this. It was like, I'm going to train because I didn't have nothing better to do in my time when I was younger. And I like the fact that it challenged me, and I can fight and I can get praise for it instead of getting in trouble for it if I'd done it outside of a boxing ring. So it was more about the fact that anyone that they put in front of me, I'll go up and I'll try and give my best to defeat them. And where I was good at football growing up, this was a new task for me. I got my trophy collection, so you know I was on the right path. I was doing something constructive. It was never about I could start buying houses or help my family. It wasn't about that at a young age. It was just becoming ABA champion and then turning pro. Maybe it's a young mentality, but I think since I turned professional, I've been left to my own devices a lot more. So I think right now it's more of a factor to me that this is it. I've got to do this myself. What I put in is what I get out, and now I'm in the paid ranks. I see myself setting my life up. At the end of the day, when I look back, 15 years from now, you know, I want to open a safe and see a bar of gold there and a few diamonds, or drive down the street and say to my family, I own that. Go to Africa or India or go someplace in Britain and say, that's the charity. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. These things, and that's what being in the paid ranks about. As an amateur, it wasn't about setting myself up or making it a profession. Now this is profession. This is serious.
You spent a long time after the Olympics making a decision to turn professional, and it was kind of like everyone was like, well, what's going on with Joshua? Like, it was over a year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Before you come to your decision. And, you know, understand that you had to assess your options, whether you were going to go to the next Olympics and
WSB.
Yeah, WSB.
APB.
Yeah. And also, when you sort of had an inkling that you were going to turn professional, it was a question of where are you going to go professional,
100%.
who are you going to go professional with? Because
trainer,
all these decisions had to be made. So I suppose when you look at it like
contracts, how many fights, the length, finding the right lawyers, then commercially finding the right team that can hopefully reflect on my success in the ring, out in the public.
Finding the right muggy internet channel to follow you about.
you guys are always going to be there anyway. I knew you from back.
We're going to be to you what fight hype after Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know, like we're just going to we'll be like, everyone will be
so let me rewind.
Yeah.
Are you claiming I could potentially be the next British Floyd Mayweather? Is that what you just said?
I'm claiming.
If I heard correctly.
No, I'm being serious. I'll tell you what I think. You tick every box. Every box there is, from marketability to your talent to your personality. I'll think of the other two in a minute. You tick every box that puts you in a position to become on a level. I'm not saying it's on the level of Floyd Mayweather, because at the minute no one's on the level of Floyd Mayweather, and it's hard to tell whether it's from America or England whether anyone will in our lifetime will reach them levels. They probably will. There's always a star. But you know, it's a bit early.
Very early
to be saying them things. I'm being seriously,
and even if you look at Floyd Mayweather's career, we seem to forget the early stages. It's all about once you reach the pinnacle. That's when everyone knows who you are. Everyone wants to jump on. Everyone has an opinion. These stages are, I won't say irrelevant, but the people who are tuned in now, it's going to, hopefully, if I reach the top, it's going to be tenfold. Half of the people that join the bandwagon later on won't understand what we've been through or where we've come from.
100% right. In fact, I was watching a video the other day of Floyd's first fight.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
And I saw his interview afterwards
with Jeff Mayweather.
Yeah, Jeff Mayweather, and I think Roger was in the clip, and it was just that young. You could still see he was.
Yeah, you could still see. You could still see it. 100%.
But you know, it was a completely different. And looking at it now, 46 fights on.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's an incredible story.
Yeah,
and you know, like I said, this is like the early parts of your career when you're 46 fights in, where you'll be, you don't know. I don't know. No one knows. So, but listen, like I said, it is a journey. It's a well-used term from our friend Audley Harrison about the journey. But it is a journey, and like I said, when you're knocking on the doors of world titles,
touch wood.
Eddie ain't got wood here. It's all fucking.
It's all
platinum.
chrome and platinum.
That's weird. But you will get people sort of joining the Joshua bandwagon late, but that's part of life, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. No, it's just, as I said, it's just interesting. That's what I speak about with my mate. Is like, I don't want to get into all religion or anything, but you're living to a date of expiry, of death. You go through your life so focused on what's ahead of you, as you said, I do, or what the future holds, and sometimes you forget to look back. As you said, looking at the Mayweather fight, it's like it's amazing to see 46 fights on, where you come from. If you could, like, even just look at your week, can you remember what you done 2 weeks ago?
No.
It's hard to remember what I can't even remember.
I was away last week. The week before that, was I in Manchester? I think I was in Manchester for the Manchester show.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard to look back, and it's just like it's, as you said, as time goes on, people may join the bandwagon. I don't want to call it bandwagon, but people join the journey, and if you could have your life in a motion of pictures, looking back on everything you've done, the good times, the bad times, it just kind of sums it up and makes it all worth living for. You know what I mean? That's sometimes you gotta remember your struggles before you talk about your successes as well. And when you achieve so much as like Floyd Mayweather has, sometimes you're so he probably just can't believe everything that he's achieved, like, because where he started from, how hard he had it, come from nothing to where he is now. It's an amazing journey. If I could do it half of what he's done, that'd be a big achievement, because I said I didn't come in the game to change anyone's life or be in the British money team or nothing like that. You know, it's just amazing, like, what life throws at you and what you could achieve in my short lifetime. Even what you're doing, who would have thought you would be in TV interviewing guys and traveling the world when you was 16 years old or 17 years old?
What are you going about? I knew I was going to do this shit from day one.
No.
Do you know what? Funny you should say that, because I know this is about you, but just you touch on that. And when we started that thing, it had no direction in boxing whatsoever. So you're right there.
Because you had your cameras ready, you knew that what you wanted to do. You didn't know where it was going to go, but you was prepared. So when boxing presented itself to you, you already had your foundations built. You could interview people. You had your camera set up, so you was ready to take that leap of faith. If you didn't have all these things in place, boxing presented itself, then you had to go out and buy all these things and improve your interviewing skills. They could have been like, Coogan, you know what? We'll speak to you in a year's time. We're going to try this person who's got their stuff ready, who's been building their foundation. And I could have been sitting here with someone completely different. And it's the same with myself and all the other people out there, is that when I started, I didn't know I was going to become ABA champion, Olympic champion, or become a professional at this stage with 5 fights, 5 knockouts. But from day one, when I got in boxing, I trained hard. I trained from day one like an ABA champion. When I became ABA champion, I knew I have to train like a world champion amateur boxer. And when I become a world silver medalist, I knew I had to live like an Olympic champion. So like, I made sure before I got to these stages of my career, I lived that way. So when I get there, I was already prepared. It wasn't a shock to me. So that's why I that's what you say, take each step as they come and just make sure I'm ready for the opportunity. I don't ask for opportunities, I make sure I'm ready for them.
It's 100% right. And like I said, the general people outside, I won't say the public because it's not a good term, but the people that follow your progression in whatever you're doing, and they see the highlights of what you do. True? They see you go into the ring, right? And say your last 5 fights, I think that's very unprofessional. We won't answer that. People see the highlights of your journey, basically. So they'll turn up to a fight, pay their money ticket for the fight, or they'll be at home watching it on Sky or whatever, and they'll see, like I said, the highlights of your life, because that you going into the ring, your ring walk, right? They'll see you walk from the dressing room into the ring, have your fight, do your post-fight interview, and then that's it. The highlights of the night. Now, what about the weeks, the months of I've just been watching you training now? What about all that? What about all that? Because that's what's led you into that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to refer it back to stuff that we do. People see an end product, so people will see this video.
Okay.
People will see this video tonight
and say, "Oh, cool, you're living," or interview Mayweather. I think you're doing so well.
No, but they think, like I was just saying, so they'll see this interview tonight, but they won't see this interview. Will me being at home for 5-6 hours, putting this thing on. And it's the same with anything, isn't it? You see the highlights of people's lives, and people forget what it is, what it's taken rather for you to have got to that place. Yeah. So you know that's why sometimes when I talk to you about stuff, and we do our interviews with you and whatever boxers, it's good to talk about certain other stuff rather than fight specific stuff, because you are doing stuff that's, you know what I mean? I know you train like 2-3 times a day. You know what I mean? You're training in different places. You're doing different aspects of training every day. I talk to you regularly. I know what you're doing. Yeah. So
it's not easy. I like what you said there as well. Is that I don't even look at it like that. It's like I just see the setup you got here, and then an hour later, 2 hours, 3 hours later, all I have to do is retweet it or tell a couple of mates to look at the interview I done. I don't see the graph that you've put in.
But it's the same with you. Like, I'll watch your fight. I won't be in the gym with you every day watching you train your bollocks off, and watching you, do you know what I mean, sparring every day, just training because you train like a maniac. So I don't see all that all the time. I pop down the gym every now and again, but I don't see all that. So all I see is it's like taking it for granted. I wait for your fight night, and I'm there, sitting there, watching you have your fight.
That's why I think now is like Tyson done it years ago when they showed clips of his lifestyle. It's capturing the imagination now. Yeah. That's why I spoke to Eddie and Barry and Sky, and just to announce there'll be a few documentaries coming up and a bit more behind the scenes, so you can see this like. If you're interested, you can see a bit more of what really goes on, and family time, friend time, business, work, and what you can't. That's what I realised recently as well, is that you can't be everything wrapped up into one. You can't be that guy that links chicks, that guy that wants to be an entrepreneur, that guy that has to look after the family, that guy that wants to go Nando's every weekend. That guy that wants to go in the club and pop bottles. That guy that wants to wake up on Monday morning and walk around in his shirt and tie. Do you know what I mean? You have to pick your specific lanes, stick to your guns, burn all bridges, and go for it. And that's where we're at right now.
I'll do about 4 of them things.
What ones? Saturday night, Nando's.
Definitely the Nando's.
I'm a Nando's guy as well.
That's all I heard. I heard the Nando's bit, and I thought, I'm
a Nando's guy myself.
I'm a Nando's guy myself. But no, you're right, because it's like with anything in life, you can't have anything. It's like men that go out there, they're married at home, right? But they want to be married at home, and they want to go and have a single life when they're out. Yeah. And it's the same mentality that. You can't do it if you genuinely want. If you
genuinely want something, go for it.
Exactly.
Don't sidetrack. Don't be disciplined. Stay on track. There's gonna be temptations if you're that married guy. You're gonna be in Brazil on a business trip. Do you know what I mean? And you know what Brazil is known for, you know what I'm saying? Or, Magaluf or something like that, you know what I mean?
Or Iron Napa back in the day.
You know what I'm saying? I could keep on going, but discipline. Know what you've got, know the opportunity you've got, and stick to your guns. I need to take some of my own advice and step my game up, which I will,
In what aspect?
I said this to you in our first interview, and that's what you say, I don't change. what I do in 2014 will not be enough to get me through 2015. If I think I can be the same person I am and be happy with what I'm doing and say, yeah, 5-0, baby, I'm the man, with my brush, with a brush and start combing my hair saying I'm the man, do you know what I'm saying? Then I've got it all wrong. I always have to continuously try and improve myself. And that's in and out the ring. And that's just not how you've got to live, each to their own. But for me, that's how I've got to do it. It's about progress.
It certainly is. Right, well, Anthony Joshua, thanks for talking to...
It's a bit deep today, wasn't it?
iFL TV. It's good though because
it's a bit deep.
Listen, you're on the Foxgroves bill, which is in
3 weeks,
less than 3 weeks time,
3 weeks,
and I'll be talking to you then, surrounding your fight. So it's good to just talk about other stuff. We haven't even mentioned Foxgroves in nearly 30 odd minutes.
We haven't mentioned training, opponents. But that's what I'm saying. Life is.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly what I'm trying to say to you, that there is a struggle to the highlights. Do you know what I mean? The highlights of your life, what people see. There is stuff that goes on that leads into that people are not aware of, and there should be more stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like HBO used to do the 24/7 thing, or whatever they, with all the big fights. Showtime now with all access. And it's a good insight. Some of it, is a bit, like it depends who you're watching. When you're watching Mayweather, it's what you're going to get with Mayweather. It's going to be the cars lined up and counting the money on the money phones. You're going to have one of them one day as well. The money phones, £5 notes though. You can have a stack of £5 notes like that. You'll be finding Eddie. I'm on the £5 note phone, man. What you saying?
The £5.
Eddie's on the dial up and it like that. No, but there should be more stuff to show what you're going through, and it's a good thing for you to look back on. When it's all said and done. You're one of these like Shannon Briggs type people, like 50 years old, running into press conferences, calling out the next the current heavyweight champs. Don't ever do that.
Nah, I won't, trust me.
I was Anthony Joshua, man. I was 40-0, man. You can't forget about me.
I was the last minute heavyweight champion.
Yeah. Fight me. Rip off your shirt. Still got like a 15-pack.
But he's looking in good condition. But let me tell you something. It don't matter how good you look, how many weights you push, how many reps you can do. If you ain't getting hit, it don't matter. That's one thing about boxing. It's not about how good you look. All this strength, conditioning and stuff, it complements the skills and technique of boxing. Totally. It's not the end all be all. I don't care how many weights people push.
Kugan Cassius, Anthony Joshua, because the time's running out on the thing.
Stay hungry, baby.